Hi, this is Tiffany Coral with EDL 959 Module 1 on how does leadership impact academic, non-academic activities and barriers. So some personal demographics about myself. I am from Bedford, Pennsylvania. I know a lot of my peers are from the Kansas area, but I am from Pennsylvania. I am 27. I'm married. We have a 1.5-year-old son, Easton. You can see him in the photo there. And we have a fur baby. Her name is Finley. Some things that our family enjoys doing is going to the beach on vacation. Here it is snowing currently and about 20 degrees, so I could use some beach weather. We also like country music and going to country music concerts and exploring the outdoors, four-wheeler riding and such. My work background, I work at Chestnut Ridge Middle School. I teach fourth grade math, science, and social studies. This is my third year in this position. Before that, I taught alternative education, was the school district's after-school site coordinator, taught pre-K. In total, I have about 6.5 years of experience. Currently, we are in person with social distancing guidelines because of COVID. This year, we do have smaller class sizes. So my two classes that I switch with another teacher, we only have 12 in each class. So that is definitely a blessing. To get to the research, so 10 academic activities that my school district uses regularly are persuasive essays. We use what's called a GPSS. This is for PSSA prep and mathematical word problems that involve critical thinking. Compare and contrast diagrams, text-dependent analysis. This is big in the ELA subject areas as well as social studies. Quarterly, we use a assessment called AIMSweb to see how the students are progressing in their growth. We complete poster projects. We use Scholastic newsreaders specifically for social studies. We have critical thinking puzzles. I use those as a morning warm-up each day. Interview and role play is used, and think, pair, share is used regularly. The follow-up questions to go along with those activities. So our school admin supports these activities through giving us the early dismissal time on most Fridays for extra prep, as well as trainings and meetings. Our admin also do walkthroughs regularly, and through using our GPSS, teachers do receive incentives. I believe those are just quarterly as well. Those are through the vice principal. These activities, they do encourage and promote critical thinking skills as well as students' individual learning styles by using different techniques than just by the book. Some teachers, they use these opportunities more than others. Some teachers are, I would say, old school, and they teach from the textbook, and they don't use these opportunities, but I do think that the parents do appreciate the hands-on, unique learning approaches that are different from just standard out of the textbook. So 10 non-academic activities that our school uses. We could say critical thinking skills. One example is the GPSS, which is not graded necessarily in all classrooms. Some other ways that involve critical thinking skills are just questions of the days that are asked. We also have job skills training through our VOTEC, and also we use what's called a career portfolio. They are started at second grade, and then they keep that portfolio the whole way up until senior year, and they build and grow on that. That is through guidance that they do that, which is a pretty neat experience for the kids. They also have public speaking and presentation skills and opportunities. Managing personal finance is another one. This is done at the high school. That is built into some of the mathematics and business prep programs. Giving back to the community and volunteerism. This is something that students have to do when they're a senior. Community service. The number of hours, it's like 2 hours per week per marking period that they are signed up for that. We also have through PBIS, which is a positive behavior intervention and supports model. We have a Pride program. Students earn Pride tickets as an incentive. Each marking period, there is either a movie, a carnival, or something with a certain number of Pride tickets they can earn. We also have what's called a friendship group, which focuses on social emotional skills. That's through guidance. We also have an after school and after three program. As I said, I was the coordinator of a few years ago. They use a program called R Roles, which focuses on soft skills, which is one of the main non-academic activities that the research did talk about. Part of the career portfolios is interviewing. In fourth grade, you have to interview for adults about their job and ask them questions. So that kind of goes along with career and building prep. And finally, I included following directions because this is a skill that isn't necessarily graded, but it's something that even at fourth grade, my students get to me, and it's something that we have to practice. And the way that we do that is through different listening games and techniques. And I think that would benefit not only fourth graders, but students moving up to fifth and sixth grade. So when they get to high school, that they have those critical listening and thinking skills. My follow-up questions to go with that. So the way that school admin supports these activities, again, is using that early dismissal time on Fridays. Also, the students have what's called a clinic time starting at fifth grade and up at the middle school. And during that clinic time, they get to participate in clubs and other organizations, and that's when they meet. So many of these activities that I mentioned as non-academic, they do promote social emotional development and soft skills. Something that I think that our school could promote more of is on mental health. This is something that is discussed very little at our school. And I think that the teachers also need to be trained on how to scope out mental health issues and how to report them adequately. To continue, some of the clubs and organizations in our district, they are supported by key stakeholders, and even some of the school board members, they do volunteer or donate to those organizations as well. So some 10 important takeaways that I got from the research, or quotes that I felt that were worth mentioning, that 8 out of 10 families say that interpersonal skills or soft skills, they are extremely important, but only 4 out of 10 say that standardized testing measure those soft skills. I would definitely agree with that statement. I don't think the PSSAs, which is Pennsylvania's state assessment, it doesn't measure soft skills at all. To continue, only 1 out of 10 teachers felt that their school used formal and informal assessment to measure those non-academic skills very well. The NWEA, they recommend right now that state and local education leaders, research, and policymakers, that they work together to refine state assessments to address the range of academic and non-academic skills. I agree with that quote immensely. I do think that soft skills need to be worked into the assessment because they are critical to becoming a prospering adult. For those who grow up in healthy homes and receive high quality preschool instruction, typically develop skills to regulate these emotions, so they pay attention better and they build those relationships. I agree with that. Our school does very much promote going to preschool, and low-income families do get that for free. Schools also need to prioritize the integration of non-academic and social emotional skills. And our school does that some, but I do think that we could work on that. 6, students' motivation has a powerful effect on completion rates of distance learning. I wholeheartedly agree, especially in the days of COVID. Faculty, they can experience problems such as lack of staff training and course development. Again, I agree. I think our school does need training on mental health and the scope of that. 8, our society as a whole is facing an escalated number of complex problems such as teen pregnancy, substance abuse, suicide, and youth violence, which they can all contribute to that lack of that those non-academic skills and soft skills being established and learned. 9, given the high prevalence of mental health issues, that schools, they need to definitely educate youth through a school psychologist. And 10, using the integrated approach, the Center for Mental Health in schools at UCLA, they consider this approach, the integrated approach, the best, which is making mental health students' top priority. My principal's reflection, we did a book chat last year called The Grit of Power of Passion and Prevalence, and this was mentioned in one of the research studies. This is a great book. 2, we use the After School and After 3 program